believe the typical person will take comfort over sacrifice. The idea of sacrificing for something is known. Everyone expects it has to be done, but don't quite know what the sacrifice is. I have one of my friends, and I'm slow to say friends because I've called people friends before. Doesn't quite turn out like that. But one of my friends, really successful guy, has a routine that blows my mind. I mean, just flat blows my mind. I don't know if he would call it sacrifice anymore because it's just a routine. It might even be comfortable for him because he's been doing it for so long. But when you're doing anything, I believe that the best way I can put it, if you're doing anything to get to an expected hope, and you have an end game, you have a vision, you have a plan that you're working. To do anything, it takes a level of sacrifice that will break your comfort no matter how successful you've been in other things. In truth, your success is partly because of your willingness to sacrifice. I was talking to my daughter about choices that she needs to make. She's got some real choices to make. Whatever choice she makes, there's going to be a sacrifice. So that's what we talk about. We talk about the sacrifices. Not that one choice is better than the other one, or one choice is right and one choice is wrong. They're just choices. You know, and what I love about it in having this conversation with her is comfort is not an option. It's when you're comfortable, it is very hard to learn something that's going to move the ball or your goal or your vision or your hope forward, because it takes breaking new ground and having the right mindset to not slip off into the comfort zone. So what I wanted to use this video for is to tell you what comfort looks like. And you may see it differently than me. But comfort is an external thing or place that seems to be easy, and maybe easy isn't the right word, but fairly attainable, and usually offered to you. The reason why I say it's usually offered to you is because it's already made, and they just need to add more people to it for it to have more credibility. And I'm trying to keep it, the definition that I'm talking to you about, at a level where you can use it across all boards. Social, political, economic. To keep anything going, you need more buy-in by someone. That's where credibility is gained, when other people buy into whatever it is. So comfort makes it easy to get other people to buy in. What's hard is when there is no comfort and a great deal of sacrifice, and you want to get people to buy in to the sacrifice. That's why most things are presented from the idea of comfort. And listen, it's very hard for most. It's very hard for most people to understand the difference. Let me show you the difference. Someone tells you you could be rich if you do X, Y, and Z. Now, you don't have the talent to do X, Y, and Z. You don't have the desire to do X, Y, and Z, and you don't have the spirit to do X, Y, and Z. So they will say, or they can say, I mean, a lot of things can be said, is you just need to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, which is outside of your realm. My thing is learn what your realm should be and then do X, Y, and Z. There's a difference, because no matter what you do, you're going to have to sacrifice. But the challenge is, in your sacrificial stance, it's got to be based upon what God has said to you and has shown you. That's a good lead into Deuteronomy chapter 29. Now let's talk about Deuteronomy chapter 29. Now we were in Deuteronomy chapter 29 before, and we kind of skipped over this part. And when I was reading, I wanted to go to Deuteronomy 30, but I think we missed this part, which is choosing sacrifice over comfort. Huge, huge, huge principle that needs to not only be explored, it needs to be lived out. Like the example that I was explaining with my friend. I want to set this up properly, so we're going to go back to something like 16, Deuteronomy 29, verse 16. And listen, this is for my kids, my grandkids, my brothers and sisters in Kenya, my brothers and sisters in Ghana, my brother in Bangladesh, and whomever else believe I'm a teacher. God bless you. So let's go over this real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 29. As a matter of fact, this might even be fast. I keep saying that, but it still goes 30 minutes. I love these podcasts. Deuteronomy 29, let's go back to 16 or maybe 15. No, 16. It says, for ye know how we have dwelt, lived in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed. Verse 17. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood. And then they explain what the idols look like. Wood, stone, silver, and gold, which among them. Lest there should be among you man or woman or family, so kind of switching subjects a little bit. So lest there be among you, whether it's a man or a woman, a family, or a whole tribe. It says, or tribe, whose heart turns away this day from the Lord your God, or Lord our God, to go serve the gods of these nations. What are the gods of these nations? Idols. What do they look like? Wood, stone, silver, and gold. You go chasing wood, stone, silver, and gold. your intentions change to wood, stone, silver, and gold. See, today we don't call those idols. We call those things. But here in the Old Testament, which is relevant, it's called wood, stone, silver, and gold. That's the way it's described. And they're idols: wood, stone, silver, and gold. Which among them? External things. So your intentions change. You know what I mean by intentions change? It means instead of doing the will of God, which is not comfortable and honestly doesn't look all that fancy a lot of times, you go after the comfortable things. And you begin to sacrifice for those things. Verse 18. Lest there should be among you man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turns away this day from the Lord our God to go serve the gods of these nations. These people groups. Nations are people groups. Lest there should be among you a root that bears gall and wormwood. And it came to pass, when he hears the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart. Bless me. Well, not bless me, but I have these things. Yeah, but they're made of gall and wormwood. Let me put it like this. They look good, but they're bitter on the inside and even poisonous, because they lead you astray. Instead of, and I'm going to go this far, because I believe it'll play out as we continue to read, and you'll see the word. So instead of chasing good character, integrity, the right hand of God, you start chasing the left hand, which are full of his things. If you're chasing the left hand of God, you're willing to compromise to get it, because it's all about the external things. But if you're chasing his character, his integrity, and looking to live a sacrificial, today I think the word would be conservative lifestyle. And I'm not talking about political conservatism. I'm talking about, you have $100,000 in the bank and you don't go buy a $50,000 car. You have $100,000 in the bank and you properly distribute the money into the assets that may only yield you $300, $400 a month, but it'll yield you $300 to $400 a month for the rest of your life. Or you go buy a $3,000 car. Maybe put $2,000 or $3,000 into it and drive it for 5 or 6 years, but that's about it. In truth, and only because I have an insurance license, I talk about stuff like this. In truth, your $100,000 should give you assets of over at least $500,000. At least, maybe even $1 million. And you might be able to, on $100,000, you might be able to make $1,000 or $1,500 a month for the rest of your life. But Wormwood and Gal says, you got $100,000. Go ahead and pay $50,000 for that brand new car. You have no maintenance. It's brand new. It looks good, but it's poisonous. I think you're going to get that later on. Verse 19, and it came to pass when he hears the words of this curse that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. What does it mean to add drunkenness to thirst? I'm going to give you a real simple example. To quench your thirst, you drink a beer instead of water. That's just the simplest example I can give you. Or, to quench your thirst, you chase after wood, stone, silver, and gold. Not investment gold. Just gold idols, where you pay over retail for it. Verse 20. Yeah, this was going to be short. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy shall smoke. Why is the Lord jealous? And why is the Lord angry? Because you left chasing after him. You're no longer trying to improve your character. You're no longer working on your integrity. You've decided to chase the stuff. So your heart, your intention, is now all about you. That's why the Lord, listen, the Lord can get angry. The Lord gets angry. I get angry. We get angry. Bible says, be angry and sin not. Confusing to a lot of people. It was confusing to me at first. My grandson, I love my grandson, one of them. He hates injustice. Hates it. And when he sees injustice, in other words, he sees someone being treated differently than they treat him or they treat somebody else, or he sees someone else being abused. He hates it, but it gets him in trouble. You know, he turns into a little Moses. And so we got to keep him out of trouble because wait a minute, how come they can get away with that and I can't get away with that? Because we're teaching you how to chase character and integrity. It's not about the stuff and the things that it seems like they have. It's about the person that you're becoming so that you can attract the blessing, not chase the blessing. There is a difference between having that $50,000 car because someone gave it to you or because you put $200 or $2 million in the bank, because somebody gave you favor in one way and you going into debt to have something to look a certain way. One is chasing the wormwood, driving the same car, because that's what people understand these days. One is chasing the wormwood and one is living on the blessing. Looks the same on the outside, but it is gall, Gall on the inside. It is poisonous. The lessons of my grandson should be the lessons of anyone chasing God. And let me just throw this in there. Jesus is Lord because of his example and whom he was chasing, not what he was chasing. We can get into the dynamics of being, born of a woman but not of a man. We can get into the lineage, and we can get real spiritual about all these other things. But what it boils down to is he was chasing sacrifice over comfort. Because of the vision that God had given him to not chase the blessing, but to be the blessing. And you can only do that if your heart condition is prepared to live the sacrificial life that it takes to be, not to chase. When I was in sales many years ago, I was taught how to close a deal. Let me say it like this. I was taught how to close a deal. So I used a lot of lead-in questions to get a person to see it my way. And I convinced them how my way would benefit them. And I did this by being relatable to them and assuring them I had their best interests regardless of whether I did or didn't. Now, towards the beginning of my career, it was all about me chasing the wormwood. The wood, stone, silver, and gold. Towards the end of my sales career, I had reverted back to intentions, character, integrity. I wouldn't present something that I didn't feel was good for them. The interesting part is I would get the tougher assignments and I would still close the deals. To the point where I could make a living, a decent living. Middle class, what we call here in America middle class living. But it was harder work. It took more sacrifice. More was thrown at me because that was my character. That was my intention. It was harder than going the way of comfort, which is to say anything, do anything, act any way. That's the only way I know that I'm on the right track, because of what I'm chasing now. Come hell, which a lot is hellish. High water, which I oftentimes feel like I'm drowning. To the point where I can't do anything but sit and say, I don't know what to say. But I know what's more important to me is not the wood, stone, silver, and gold. I want those things, but I want those things to be attracted to me because I'm chasing the right hand of the Father. So the Lord does get angry. Look at verse 20 again. I think we'll close here. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord, the boss, the one that manages the rules, and his jealousy, because you're chasing after stuff and not him, because he went through all this trouble to mentor you. He's our Jetna. And for you New Testament creatures, that's Jesus. You know, the one that says, well, he gave me grace and mercy. No, he gave you life to give grace and mercy. You're the one to be doing the work. You're ambassadors, giving grace, giving mercy, to be an example. You're sacrificing your comfort to be an ambassador in Christ. And for him, Christ, the Messiah. You want grace and mercy, but are you giving it? He will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy, because you changed what you're chasing, shall smoke against that man. And all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and the Lord shall blot out his name from under heaven. See, we're scared of the blot out part. We don't seem to be scared of the comfort part. And moved by the sacrificial part. You say you want to be an ambassador. Okay. In the midst of all these challenges, is your attention turned to you, or is your attention turned to others? And you know, the whole idea of an ambassador is to represent a kingdom, right? The ambassador is dead to his or her opinion about how things should go. He's only representing the laws of the kingdom of heaven, in this case the hand of Moses, as it pertains to governance and dealing with and talking to and relating to other people. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with comfort. I'm just saying I think we should enjoy the comfort of God. He gives us all things to enjoy as we chase his character and his integrity. Cash App, $TheMrPaulDozier. Cash App, $TheMrPaulDozier. Or if you're in America, Zelle, paulcdozier@gmail.com. I will gladly take your help, and I dare say I even need your help. Or you can support by purchasing a book. I was asked recently, are they on Audible? I would love to focus in and just read the books and put them on Audible. That would be a blessing. So maybe you can help me do that. You can do that by purchasing a few books on amazon.com. Just type in Paul C. Dozier or Paul Dozier maybe. No, Paul C. Dozier on Amazon. And I think that will come up. And if you didn't know, we're on a journey from Genesis to Revelation. I do not know how long this journey is going to take. But we're on the journey. If these videos are helpful to you, please like and share them on whatever platform you hear it or see it. This is my podcast, and this is my daily Bible study. So please study to show yourself approved. What else do I say? And thank you for taking this journey with me. And thank you for taking this journey with us who feel like we are called to usher in the kingdom of heaven.